Hello, my name is Sandy Adamitis, the social media director for the Page International Screenwriting Awards, and your host for the Writers Hangout, a podcast that celebrates the many stages of writing, from inspiration to the first draft, revising, getting a project made, and everything in between. We'll talk to the best and the brightest in the entertainment industry and create a space where you can hang out, learn from the pros, and have fun. Hi, I'm Sandy Adamitis.
Hi, I'm Terry Sampson.
Terry.
Oh.
It's spooky season.
Oh, no.
So I thought we would start off spooky season with a scary story about Poltergeist.
Okay.
Poltergeist is a beloved horror film, and it was a huge and critical commercial success in its time. It's created a franchise, Poltergeist 2, The Other Side, Poltergeist 3, and a 2015 remake. It's also rumored to be cursed.
Dun, dun, dun.
Cursed because of certain props used during a pivotal scene, now blamed for 3 lives lost in brutal and devastating ways. Poltergeist, people say in Hollywood, just might be the most cursed film in Hollywood history. Let's talk a little bit about the movie. You've seen Poltergeist, right?
I have.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really has held up over the years.
Yeah, good and scary.
Yeah. It was released on June 4th, 1982 by MGM, and it was a supernatural horror film, like I said. It was written by Steven Spielberg, Michael Grais, and Mark Victor. The story was by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. It was also produced by Spielberg and Frank Marshall. Steven wanted to direct Poltergeist, but he was actually directing E.T. at the time, and contractually, he wasn't allowed to direct 2 movies at the same time.
I'd like to think he was just afraid to direct it. That's what I'm going with.
Too scared?
He's too scared.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movie, but since it's been around for a long time, and usually I wouldn't mind doing spoiler alerts, but go,
82?
Yes, rent it. You got to see it. It is good. Poltergeist revolves around the Freelings, an average middle-class family that has recently moved into a planned yet cozy community in Costa Verde, California. Steve, the dad, played by Craig T. Nelson, is a real estate developer. Diane is the stay-at-home mom. She was played by Jo Beth Williams. And they have 3 adorable kids. Teenage Dana, played by Dominique Dunn, 8-year-old Robbie, played by Oliver Robbins, and 5-year-old Carol Ann, played by actress Heather O'Rourke. Soon after settling in, the family bizarre events begin to occur, and Carol Ann starts having conversations with unknown entities by talking to the TV static as if someone is talking back to her. That's the part you like, right?
Yeah.
The TV static talking. Yeah, it's
really
creepy.
I hear voices too, but it's more like this kind of voice. So I don't know if it's a voice. It's good,
Did
though.
you know you have a cat? That is a cat.
That's more of a cat than static?
Yes.
Okay, I'll work on it.
Some of the bizarre things, and tell me if you remember this, that were happening kind of in the beginning. A glass of milk shatters. And I'll bet you remember this one. The kitchen chairs stacking themselves in odd positions.
Yeah, that's just helpful, really. But it is scary.
It is
scary and helpful.
I agree. Initially, the ghosts, they were playful and friendly. And so the family just continues on with their lives. During a really bad thunderstorm, a large limb tree crashes through the kids' bedroom windows and grabs Robbie. He's the middle kid. I don't know if they miss him.
If they just watered their plants.
Yeah.
Their trees.
True. While the family rushes outside to rescue Robbie, the ghosts use this distraction, and Carol Ann is sucked into a portal inside her bedroom closet.
That is bad.
After saving Robbie, the family, they're frantically searching for Carol Ann, only for her voice to call out from the TV.
Nice.
Desperate, Steve and Diane turn to a parapsychologist for help. When that doesn't work, a medium is brought in called Tanja Barron, played by actress and activist Zelda Rubinstein. She's called in, and I won't spoil the ending. As I mentioned at the top, the Poltergeist curse started because of the props used in a certain major scene while being shot. Terry, any guesses what that could have been?
No.
Okay. Spielberg, Marshall, and Hooper supposedly decided to use real skeletons during one of the most famous scenes where Jo Beth Williams' character, Diane, falls into the family pool filled with skeletons. Supposedly, this was kept on the download, and the cast and crew had no idea. While appearing on TV Land's TV Myths and Legends, Jo Beth Williams said, "I assumed they were prop skeletons made out of plastic or rubber. I found out, as the crew did, they were using real skeletons because it was far too expensive to make skeletons out of rubber."
They did it because it was cheaper? That's surprising, because it's super creepy.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
The Curse. Months after the release of Poltergeist in June of 1982, that November, 22-year-old Dominique Dunn, who played the oldest daughter, Dana, was strangled at the end of her driveway by her ex-boyfriend in West Hollywood, California. The piece of garbage ex-boyfriend, who I will not name, was a sous chef at Ma Maison, which was
a big place for all the big-time people to eat.
Yeah, all the power players.
They're all there.
There.
I was never there, but that kind of explains that, doesn't it? Mm-hmm.
After 8 days of deliberation, buckle up, Terry.
Okay.
The jury acquitted the piece of garbage ex-boyfriend of second-degree murder, but found him guilty of a lesser charge of voluntary manslaughter. Dunn's family was outraged by the verdict, calling it an injustice. Piece of garbage ex-boyfriend was sentenced to 6 years in prison for manslaughter, which was the maximum sentence he could have received, with an additional 6 months for the assault charge. Even worse, he was released after serving 4 years. Angry, I have to move on. It just makes me so angry. I want us to get to know her a little bit. Dominique was a California girl through and through. Her mom, Ellen, was a ranching heiress, and her dad, Dominique Dunn, was the famous writer, producer, and actor. She was also the niece of the married novelists and screenwriters, John Gregory Dunn and Joan Didion. Who we just lost this year, Joan Didion. Her godparent was Maria Cooper, daughter of actor Gary Cooper.
Wow.
Her brother's the actor Griffin Dunn. She's a real Hollywood kid that had a brilliant career ahead of her.
Very sad.
Heather O'Rourke, she played Carol Ann, and she said the famous line, "They're here."
Yeah.
Was only 12 when she died of cardiac arrest from septic shock caused by a misdiagnosed intestinal issue on February 12th, 1988.
Yeah.
That's just so sad. I don't even know what to add to that.
I think there should be a rule that you can't die until you're at least 38.
Yeah.
That's my feeling.
Good rule. Lou Perryman played the small role of Pugsley in the original film. He was 67 years old when a recently released convict killed him in his own home with, wait for it, an axe.
Come on.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Lou...
Did he know this guy?
No, it later turned out, after the man who killed him turned himself in, said he attacked Lou because he needed a car and some random things in his home. It was just random.
It doesn't make any sense.
Part of the curse.
Yeah.
Oliver Robbins, who was the male child of the family, was reportedly attacked on set by a mechanical clown. In the scene where he was supposedly struggling with the creepy clown, it malfunctioned and choked him. Because the scene was meant to show that the little boy was struggling, many cast members thought he was acting. And it wasn't till he turned blue that they rushed onto the stage and stopped it. This happened in the second film, Terry, but the curse did kind of continue on. There was an actor by the name of Will Sampson.
No relation.
No relation.
No.
He played the Native American shaman, and he did a exorcism on the set to clear the air for using those props on the set. I bet you it was a cleansing ceremony. I don't think it was an exorcist.
This is a literal, they brought this guy in to literally, it wasn't part of the film? He came in?
No, he was an actor in the film, and he volunteered to do this ceremony to clear the set because bad things were happening because they used real skeletons as props.
All right, for my writer friends and actor friends out there, when you're doing a horror film, do not volunteer for anything extra.
There you go. It's a good rule in life.
It's a good rule.
Yeah. After the exorcism, which I think was a ceremony, members of the cast claimed to feel better. Jo Beth Williams recalls an odd, nervous feeling on set that went away after Sampson performed the ceremony.
Yay, Sampson.
Yeah. And she said that when she got home from shooting on set all day, the picture frames in her house were always tilted. She'd straighten them next day, tilt it again.
Yeah, I'd like to apologize for that. I thought it was going to be funny. Sorry. I shouldn't have done that. So bad.
James Caan, not the actor, who wrote the novelization of Poltergeist, said that right after he was writing the line, "Lightning strike the sky," a freak lightning bolt struck his building. The lights went out and video games in his house turned on and started to play. That is wild.
What?
Yeah.
The game started playing on their own? Mm-hmm. Really? Asteroids?
Now, the Poltergeist curse is a tragic one. And as I just mentioned, it also followed the franchise. On the set of the 2015 remake, the house that they were filming in, apparently the director, James Keenan, chose the location because it was haunted. The legend had it in the town that it was haunted. So he was just like, great, that's where we're shooting. And he went looking for a curse and he found it. The film was plagued by strange equipment failures, and there was one plot of land. The director says that whenever they were filming there, the lights would go off. And he said, again, when he would go home at night, he believed his house that he was renting for the shoot was also haunted because he would see a female figure in a black dress.
That's not expected. Okay.
No. He did a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, and he said, I also used a lot of aerial drone photography in the film, and the drone pilots were never able to lock in the GPS signal in this field. We would have to move 10 feet away to launch the craft. That's interesting. Terry.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be great if we could talk to someone who was there?
That would be amazing. That could never happen, though.
You think?
I don't think it could happen.
Well,
because there's a curse involved.
True.
In fact, there is a curse involved.
We have had so many technical difficulties recording this podcast. So I am actually comfortable in saying that this podcast about about the Poltergeist podcast is cursed.
Is cursed,
yes. Yeah. Let's bring on a special guest, writer, actor, Michael McManus, who played Ben Tuthill, the next door neighbor to the Freelings, who doesn't notice anything.
All right. Bring him on.
Michael McManus, thank you so much for joining us on the Writers Hangout.
I wouldn't miss it.
I'd like to ask you some questions about Poltergeist. Is that okay?
Yes, I love that movie. Scared the crap out of me.
One of the best horror movies, and I think it still stands up to this day.
I do too. It's a pretty good one, yeah.
And I love it. Did you enjoy shooting Poltergeist?
Yeah, we had a great time. It was a nice, at least for me, it was a good set to work on. As a character actor, you're not always around a lot for these things. You do a day here and a couple of days there, but I was around quite a bit for that particular movie. So I got to hang out with, I knew a few of the people. Craig Nelson and I were friends, and so that was a good thing. But it was very nice. We shot a lot of it in Simi Valley.
Yeah, that's where the original house is, right? The front of it,
No, it's still there. I think as far as I know, it's still there. And then they reconstructed the whole house and the yard and everything at MGM. Raised up 20 feet in the air, so it was ground level, and so the empty pool could be there.
Wow,
it was pretty cool.
How fun to be on that set.
It was good, yeah.
Now, your scene with Craig T. Nelson and Jo Beth Williams, was that on set or night? Did you have to shoot nights for that?
Oh, yeah, mostly nights.
Yeah, it seemed like you were outside.
Yeah, we shot some of the stuff in Simi Valley, but the thing where she's in the pool was on the set at MGM. Like I say, it was amazing. It was their whole backyard was built on a soundstage, and the pool was on the soundstage. So you had to climb, up some ladders to get to the ground level.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the one thing I remember, and I think she's talked about it, Jo Beth has talked about it, was that, it was this pool full of water and all of these electrical lights and wires and stuff all over the place. So she was a little gun shy about climbing into the water with that. And I think Steven Spielberg said, basically, well, I'll go in if you will. So he went in the water with her.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. That's one of the best ways to, as you know, as an actor, if the behind the scenes people get in the water, you feel better. I was fortunate enough to work with Craig T. Nelson on The District. Craig T. Nelson was so nice to me. I liked him, but he can be tough. Is he tough on other actors, or, tough in the sense of he wants the best out of the scene, not being a jerk? Oh, was he tough to work with, even though you knew him?
No, not on that movie. No, he was great. I had known him from some other television stuff that we had done, and we had mutual friends. No, he was fine. I think he had a good time in that movie because he got to improvise a little bit. But I know when he was doing Coach, he would direct once in a while, and he could be a little tough on some of the people. I know that.
Yeah, he was tough on my boss, and my boss has stories, but I have nothing but good, fond memories.
I like him. He was great.
Hey, Michael, Terry Sampson. Now, there's been a lot said about Poltergeist and the paranormal. I'm always curious, did you guys have a weird vibe going on while you shot it, or were you guys distanced from it, or anything weird happen, or was it just a shoot?
For me personally, I didn't sense anything. I mean, you were around a lot of skeletons, and so I never sensed anything. I read things other people have said that they thought there was a weird vibe, but I didn't personally. It was a pretty happy set. We shot a lot at night, and the people that actually lived in the neighborhood would come by and hang out and have coffee and stuff. So it was a very convivial sort of group, I thought. But no,
actual regular human beings were allowed to go to Crafty.
Yeah. At the they'd hang around. They lived down the street.
Nice set. That is a nice set.
I remember my girlfriend's mother was in town visiting, and she wanted to go to the movie set. So they drove out to Simi Valley, and my girlfriend, my current wife, her, warned her that usually you go to a movie set and it's very boring. It's a lot of sitting around and stuff. And it just so happened that the night she was there, all hell broke loose. There was like skeletons shooting out of the ground, and it was just a lot of explosives and craziness. It was a lot of special effects going on. So her mother was scratching her head and says, "I don't know why you said that."
She never went to another shoot, right?
I don't know that she ever did, but she got coffee and donuts and a few skeletons out of the deal. So.
Oh, I'd go for the donuts.
There you go. Yeah.
And of course, your amazing significant other is Nancy Steen, showrunner, writer, executive producer extraordinaire.
Yes, and a fine woman on her own right.
And a fine human being.
Yes.
Were there any rumors on set? I know maybe you didn't experience anything, but was Robbie actually choked by the mechanical puppet? Did some version of that really happen?
I don't know. I don't remember that. I know he had to go up in that tree, and that was a little, hair raising, I think, for him. The tree that grabbed him and pulled him out of the house. I think that was a little spooky for him.
Yeah.
I mean, they were little kids. I mean, that was a tough movie, I think, for little kids to do.
Absolutely.
I remember one nice thing. Can I have a nice thing?
During spooky month of October? Absolutely.
Yeah. We were at MGM again shooting, and the kids were there, and my daughter Molly was visiting, and she was, young. She was pretty young too. She was like 10 or something. And she was visiting on the set, and some downtime, I saw a gaggle of the kids sitting around Steven Spielberg. And I went over to listen, and because he was doing E.T. at the time, he was telling them the E.T. story. He was sitting there with these kids, all the three kids in the show, and my daughter, and
wow, that's so
telling
cool.
them this story. Yes, she still remembers that, and I thought that was neat. Before the movie even came out, they got to hear the story. He might have been trying it out on them. I don't know. It was very sweet.
If I was Molly, I would write a children's book on that. That's really special. That's pretty legendary.
They were real skeletons. People did ask that.
Yes, that's what I was going to ask you. Were they real skeletons?
That's what I was told. I don't know that all of them were. Probably not. There were probably some, ones that were rigged to do special things. But there were, and they were kind of, piled around on the yard in Simi Valley. And I did talk to some guys, some crew guys, and they said the story I got was they were from India. They were, I don't know where they got them, how they got them, why they got them, but they were.
I think everyone wants to know if they were SAG.
They were I think they were. This is before the extras could be in SAG, so I think they were extras. They were extra skeletons. They had extra bones. So yeah, I guess they were.
Prop master told you maybe the ones that were on the lawn were from India.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was a prop master, but it was somebody who really knew things, like the craft service guy or somebody who knew. Yeah. I think this is, by the way, the 40th anniversary of the movie this year.
Wow, can you believe that?
No, people say, did people die from the movie? I said, of course, we're all like in our 70s now. So. Yeah.
So for the writers out there and our listeners, we can say that, some of the skeletons were probably real.
That's what I was told on the set. Yeah.
And at the time, nobody was thinking, wait, I heard that you did an exorcism on set because the set wanted to get rid of the evil spirits for using skeletons. Did that happen?
Not while I was around. I don't know.
Would you have gone to I bet you it wasn't an exorcism. Maybe it was a ceremony. Maybe they saged.
Yeah, it might have been some sort of cleansing thing. I don't know. I
mean,
people were taking it fairly seriously.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if you remember this, but years ago, you and I ended up at the same luncheon.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was for, but I remember the lovely Zelda Rubinstein was there, and I watched as you and she spoke. I could tell how much you liked and respected her. Am I right about that? Are you a Zelda fan who we lost in 2010?
Oh, yeah. She was a pistol. She was really something. I liked her a lot. She ended up playing the same sort of parts, and little person parts, of course. And but she was a real pistol, and she was very sexy, as I recall it. And I don't know if she was kidding around. She was always hitting on everybody. She was
Really?
she was just a lot of fun. She just had a great sense of humor, and she was just a pistol. She had a lot of energy.
I
Yeah.
do not know how I've been going through life not knowing that.
Yeah, I liked her. I didn't know her all that well, but
Mhm.
but yeah, I think she'd come to. I used to do an improvisational show in Hollywood for a number of years, and I remember she was sort of a fan. She would come to our show,
Oh.
see the
Is
show.
that improv show Funny You Should Ask?
It is. It was. Yes.
It
Yeah.
was, and it's a legendary Funny You Should Ask. And if any of we really encourage improvisation here for writers. And if anyone wants to know about improvisation in LA, look up Funny You Should Ask. You guys were the best.
Well,
No.
thank you for saying that.
Do you
Yeah,
have
I
to go,
still.
Michael? I hear your phone ringing.
No. Just I
No, just kidding.
forgot to turn it off.
Terry and I, we were so excited about the thought of getting to talk to you. So thank you so much for doing this. I
Well,
really
thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me. It's really
We're
yeah.
going to ask you
It's
back at
fun.
the next scary moment.
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime.
Thank you very much, Michael.
All right. Take care.
Big hug to
Happy
your
Halloween.
amazing son, Lake, and Nancy.
I will. Thank you. Hope to see you
Okay.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Michael.
Bye.
That's a wrap for the Writers Hangout. Thanks so much for listening. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, like, and thrive. Till we get to hang out again, keep writing. The world needs your stories. The Writers Hangout is sponsored by the Page International Screenwriting Awards. Executive producer, Kristen O'Verne. Producers, Terry Sampson and Sandy Adamitis. Music by Ethan Stoller.